Welcome to the Personal Pension Radio Podcast, where it's all about helping you complete your financial journey to retirement. Discover time-tested strategies and get unconventional insights into wealth building and retirement that actually work. Break away from the herd and go for the retirement you dream of. And now, here's your host, the income engineer, Kraig Strom.
All right, back on Personal Pension Radio. I'm glad you are with me. This episode 226, as you can see by the title, the coronavirus episode. Focus on what matters most is the key part of that title. But if you are self-isolating somewhere in the world, whether it's at home or at your cabin in the woods or your bunker under your home, wherever that might be, thank you for joining me on Personal Pension Radio. I am Kraig Strom, the income engineer. I'm broadcasting from my own personal bunker, the Personal Pension Radio Workshop, also known as my wood shop, in the backyard here in Southern California, cold and rainy Southern California. My mission is to help you be prepared. Be prepared for retirement for sure. That is a big focus. Be prepared for just life in general. Estate planning, wills, trusts, investment questions, retirement planning. Just good, solid fundamentals is my primary focus. I am a 22-year veteran financial advisor, certified financial planner, chartered financial consultant, all that good stuff, investment advisor representative, and I am a paralegal with a fantastic law firm. Now, I do want to jump in today because I've got some stuff that I want to go over. But if you've, again, the title of the episode, I'm actually recording this right in the midst of all of this coronavirus controversy where we're self-isolating and self-quarantining and our office is working virtual and so forth. And I'm looking at it, never seen this in my lifetime, and most of the people that I know have never seen it in their lifetime. Matter of fact, saw a friend of mine here in our local city posted on Facebook recently, actually just today, actually, that the last time that was recorded with quarantines and self-isolations and don't go out in public kind of things was 1918 with a flu outbreak, a flu epidemic. Back in 1918, he posted a newspaper clipping of a post in the newspaper that said, don't go outside, stay at home. So this has happened before, but not to anybody that I know. I mean, I think this is the first type of event like this that any of us, perhaps listening, have ever experienced together. And that's the idea. We're all in it together. My wife and I have been out. We'll go out to restaurants for takeout. We'll swing into stores and quickly get stuff. And we're very conscious about our hands and who we're interacting with. And now my wife and I are not in that demographic that we're worried about catching anything or worried about picking it up in that respect and being life-threatening for us personally. We are concerned about my mom, for example, and older friends and relatives that we want to keep that self-isolation in check. So we're doing our part. The important thing here is to focus on what matters most. These types of events, I must say, they cause people to step back and go, oh my gosh, maybe I should get that thing done. Maybe I should do that thing that I've always thought that I should get done. I share this story or this little story, if you will, that was shared with me, the story of 4 frogs on a log. Folks who've listened to my podcast have heard it. This idea that 4 frogs on a log and 3 of them decided to jump, how many frogs are left? Well, the quick answer is, there's still 4 frogs on that log because those frogs only decided to jump. The story didn't say they jumped. So folks, this type of event causes so many people that have been unprepared or have sat there time after time and said, I need to do that thing. Maybe I should jump off this log and actually do that thing. Maybe I should be prepared. Maybe I should really get ready for retirement. Maybe I should actually get my living trust, my wills, my estate plan done. Maybe I should actually make sure that the guardianship provisions and my powers of attorney and all that stuff are done right. And then they end up still sitting on the log. They never actually jump. They never actually get it done. You might be one of those folks listening. So today, my overriding thought is to focus on what's matters most. It's not sports. It's not my car show. It's not material things, right? It is family. It's good, solid preparedness. It's those types of things that really do matter most. They're just not as exciting. So it's easy to ignore those things for the other things in life that'll take and distract us. So today on Personal Pension Radio, this episode, thinking with me, I hope you join me in thinking about what matters most. And we'll spend some time together on the podcast. Thank you again for being with me. Now, quick disclosure, so I don't forget, I am not an attorney. I am not a CPA. I am a certified financial planner professional and a paralegal. All of that said, and this awesome discount bargain microphone that I found on Amazon makes me sound cool, I hope. Don't act on advice that you hear on my show as if you're hearing advice for you specifically. And please, good night. Don't act on things that you hear from financial entertainers on radio, podcast, TV, etc. Meet with a qualified financial planner before you actually do anything. And I'm raising my hand. My hand is up. I would love to be that person. I have worked for years remotely with folks all over the country. I've got clients in Florida, Maine. I've got Tennessee. I've had clients in Saudi Arabia. Folks, I'm raising my hand. I would love to be that certified financial planner professional or that paralegal that you consult with. Send me an email, Kraig@kraigstrom.com, Kraig @kraigstrom, STROM.com. Send me an email. Let's connect. This is the perfect time to get off the log and do some of these things that you've been putting off. And we can actually do it in the spirit of self-isolation and quarantine with coronavirus. We can do it virtually. I'll be at my office desk, you'll be at your desk, and we can actually meet face-to-face. Technology is amazing these days. Now, a quick shout out to listener Michelle. Michelle, hello out there. Michelle listened to one of my past episodes. I actually realized I didn't go back and find out which episode it was. Michelle listened to one of my past episodes, and she sent me a note saying thank you for motivating her to start tracking her expenses. The episode she listened to, I was actually discussing this idea of budgeting. Budget. There's a financial entertainer out there, Big Dave, who's always about the budget. You got to write down every single thing you're going to spend every single penny on. And you got to keep a list. And I just don't do that. I cannot get my head around the idea of tracking the loaf of bread that I'm going to buy this year and this month. I've got this much money for that, this, and the other thing. I just can't do it. And Michelle heard me say that I track my cash flow. I track my spending. My wife and I work together on the bills. Bless her heart, she helps me go through and reconcile every single thing we spend money on all the time. Because we buy virtually everything on a credit card, it's very easy for us to track our cash flow. So our budget, if you will, is a very intimate, close connection with our cash flow. We can see where it's going. Like, whoa, wait a minute. We're spending way too much money on that, or we spent a lot of money on that, or, hey, Kraig, did you really need another pair of shoes? Yeah, honey, they were on sale. No, anyway. We track cash flow. We use an accounting program called Quicken. You can use any number of programs nowadays. There's Microsoft Money, I think, still exists. There's QuickBooks. There's Mint.com. There's all these various programs out there that you can actually run from your phone. You can run it from your computer. I recommend folks track their spending very carefully, thoughtfully. Make sure that you know where your money's going. And then if you do that and you can't recognize, hey, maybe I should stop spending so much money on going out to dinner, right? If you can't control yourself when you see those numbers front and center, you weren't going to be able to control yourself if you had written down on a list that I will only spend this much money on food. Come on. It takes a habit. You've got to build a habit and some self-restraint, and the ability to do that only comes with practice. So I would encourage you, whether you take the advice of doing an official budget and you only spend up to a certain amount because that's what your budget says, or whether you take my advice and you track your spending and you get really intimately connected with your spending, if you don't do either one of them, you will still end up spending irresponsibly one way or another. Okay? This all ties in to my deal of the week, right? My deal of the week. The deal of the week is really my quest to avoid Parkinson's law. Parkinson's law is this idea. It's famous for comparing things to time. It really applies to almost anything. Income, personnel, time, etc. Economists like to call the effect of income and expenses lifestyle inflation. Parkinson's law is really in the financial world, at least my world, is really about lifestyle inflation. That lifestyle rises to meet income and rises to meet the amount of money in your bank account. And that is just a negative catch, right? That if you have an extra $650 in the budget, your lifestyle should not rise to spend it. You should save it. Be empowered to save that money, right? Economists, again, like to call Parkinson's law lifestyle inflation. So the deal of the week is really my quest for lifestyle deflation. Lifestyle deflation, this idea that I want to be able to live well and comfortable, and I want to have nice things and I want to do nice things, but do I really have to spend full retail? Can I enjoy these things? Can I do these things without spending full ticket retail? And the answer most of the time is yes. Yes, you can, if you take a little extra time to check it out and find out. So one final thought on the deal of the week right now. The deal of the week right now. Investments are back on sale, folks. Investments are back on sale. What kind of investments, Kraig? That's a question for an individual contact with a certified financial planner. That is not me at all saying you should buy investment number 1, 2, and 4 and skip 3 and giving you advice for personal investment selection. That is a one-on-one personal conversation with a certified financial planner, an investment advisor representative, someone like myself. But here's the thing. Investments are back on sale. All of those fantastic investment increases over the last several years are gone. Gone in the matter of a few weeks. Gone. That means they are back on sale again because the markets, the investment world, all of that, it will rise again. Today, they're on sale. So deal of the week this week, investments in general, many different shapes and sizes, are back on sale. So if you want to talk about your specific situation, though, give me a call, send me an email, 951, give me an email, it's always better. Kraig with a K at kraigstrom.com. Now, in my Watch Your Steps segment on the last episode, I literally told you to watch your steps on stairs, sidewalks, driveways, right? Following up on this, please go back and listen to episode 225. The amount of risk that we all face when we own a home, when we drive our cars, and what I mean is risk, the risk of someone being able to sue you in civil court. The amount of risk we all face is tremendous. Pay attention to this, folks. Go back and listen to episode 225 and my take on that, right? But in this short time since I recorded this last episode where I encourage folks to really be careful about risk, I spoke to three new clients who own rental properties. These are places where little families live, right? And not one of them had a limited liability company, an LLC, wrapped around their rentals. Not one of the three. They're just owning anywhere from 3 to 6 rental properties with no LLC. They're just owning them in their personal name. Think about this, for folks. How many hundreds of potential lawsuits walk in and on your rental property every year? Hundreds of potential lawsuits. UPS drivers, postal workers, Amazon delivery folks, plumbers, gardeners, friends, birthday parties, classmates, mothers, fathers, uncles. Every single one of those people that comes onto those rental properties, or into your personal residence for that matter, they are all potential lawsuits, right? Here's a couple of terms I want you to think about. If you have a rental property, if you know someone with a rental property, this is an episode to share with them. This one part, right? To hear my call, my plea. You've got to understand inside out and outside in liability. Inside out liability is something happens inside one of your rental properties. I've shared this before, but it is a true story. Little girl is crushed by a television that falls off a broken shelf in a rental property. The little girl is brain damaged for life. The shelf was already there when the person purchased the rental property. It gave way. You know whose fault it was? Regardless of whose fault it really was, it was the landlord's fault. Guess who got sued for $20 million? Yeah, the owner of the rental property. If it happens inside that rental property or inside the boundaries of that property, if the pool guy trips and falls and smacks his head in the backyard of that rental property and then sues the landlord, the event happened inside the boundaries of the property. The lawsuit comes out to the owner of the property because there's no LLC. Inside out. Outside in liability, let's say one of your kids is driving home from school and runs over someone on the street and terribly injures another student who's riding their bicycle. This is, again, true story. Your kid driving the car injures this other kid terribly. Well, that event happened outside your rental property, but because you own it in your name, the lawsuit from that kid's family, the bike riding kid, the lawsuit comes after you, and then they take your rental property because there's no shield preventing the outside-in liability from getting to that rental property. So you've got to have inside-out and outside-in liability covered if you're going to own rental property. If you own rental property with no LLC, that is just a recipe for crazy, right? That is just not a good idea. So please, if you have questions about that, if you know someone who's in this situation, please, Kraig with a K at kraigstrom.com. I'm happy to see if I can help, right? Now, understanding estate planning and wills and trusts, I want to bring this to your attention. I have something going on right now that I want you to know about in the Watch Your Steps segment. This is one where folks are often out there. They're going to do their own thing. They're going to get a living trust on LegalZoom because Kraig told me to get off the log, so I'm going to go get it done cheap. Please don't do that. Please work with a good law firm, a really great law firm, if even better. That would be mine, of course. I actually have a webinar coming up on March 26th. So this podcast will go live just prior to the webinar. If you would like to attend the webinar, where I will go through the details of estate planning and wills and trusts and just do it in plain English so you can understand it, send me an email, Kraig@kraigstrom.com. In the subject line, just write webinar, and I'll send you the registration link for the webinar so you can actually register and join me on March 26th so we can go through it together, and I'll teach for about an hour or so, and I'll take questions, of course, where I'll teach on wills and trust and estate planning. So watch your step as you're jumping off the log. Do it right. I'd love to help you get it done. Now, in the next segment is my listener questions and observations area. The last time I actually revisited this idea of indexed universal life. Folks, if you ever get solicited, or if you haven't already, indexed universal life, go back and listen to episode 225 and be sure to check out the YouTube episode. I did the actual YouTube episode as well so that you can see things and the analysis that I do right there on the screen. You can find me on YouTube super easy. Kraig with a K, Strom. You find it right there. I've got many different videos, but you'll find the most recent when you search there. Now, I got a question recently about a forever home. Somebody said, what do you mean by that? Now, this was actually while I was sitting down with someone looking over their retirement planning, their life insurance. We were just doing a good general conversation. These folks are young. And I just kind of glanced over when I said, well, given that this isn't really, I'm sure this isn't your forever home, that, we'll And I just continued on, not really thinking about it because I say it so many times. I've said it so many times over the years that I wasn't really actually thinking about it. So I just said forever home. And they said, whoa, what do you mean forever home? And I realized most people don't know what that means or what I might think it means. So this is where it comes from. Years and years ago, when I started in financial services, I worked a lot with seasoned citizens, senior citizens, for those in, as Rush Limbaugh would say, out in Rio Linda, right? Senior citizens. And the idea of a forever home is this. It is a house that you can age in place. You can live there for the remainder of your days. So that's what a forever home is. Well, what does a forever home look like? A forever home is a property that has no stairs, no second story, a level entry, meaning you can get your rascal scooter in the front door. That's right, a rascal scooter. You know, the little electric scooters that, when you're 95, you hope you have one, right? So you can actually whiz around. A forever home should have a level entry from the garage or to the front door where you can just whir right inside, and there's no stairs, there's nothing to fall over, there's nothing to be, to get in your way. Same thing with the backyard and the rest of the property. It should be a place that does not have a lot of elevation changes. It's a place that you can walk around with a cane or a walker. Maybe it'd be 80 years old and a little bit less balanced and less stable, but you're able to actually maneuver around without risk of falling and breaking a hip, right? So a forever home is part of a retirement planning conversation, or at least it should be. In my world and with my clients, they hear the forever home conversation every single time. I would say that retirement planners often are investment advisors. They really don't talk about that kind of a nuance. Because I started 2 decades ago working directly, specifically with seniors all the time, I am really sensitive to this idea of retirement has to include even lifestyle conversations. How in the heck are you going to be able to have a nice retirement if you can never go upstairs in your house? If we have to worry about you falling down the hill right outside your back patio, right? That's true stories, right? When I've talked to folks about retirement, I've gone out and looked at their property like, dang, You got 5 acres with a hill right on the other side of your patio. If you take one wrong step, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, 78 years old, you're dead or broken at the bottom of the hill with no life alert, right? So a forever home is very much like the one that I helped my mom buy. My mom has a nice little single-story home. It's level entry. Both the front door and the garage have no stairs. Someday, if my mom actually needed a scooter, she can get it right in the front door. Her whole house is tile floor, easy to maneuver. There's nothing to trip her up, nothing except for her dog to trip her up, so she can be stable. Her backyard, level backyard. In my mom's case, she cemented the whole thing with the exception of a few planters that she can plant on the sides. It's easy to maneuver around. She'll never fall down on something that is a uneven place. So that's a forever home. If you're thinking about retirement, don't forget to consider the forever home angle of the discussion. A lot of folks think, well, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade my house and bigger house and then I'll downsize for retirement. I've got a little tip for you. Please reconsider that path, because you have to also ask, will there be another buyer coming in behind me to buy this house? This great big house. When you want to downsize, will you have a whole group of prospective buyers for your big giant house? Nowadays, the younger generations coming up, that millennial crowd, they are not interested oftentimes in the big house. A lot of them are renting, or they're going for smaller places. Heck, there's a whole movement of tiny home buyers. So be careful when you think about the old adage of, I'll downsize into my forever home in retirement. You might want to really be careful with that, because you got to double check your market to make sure there's going to be enough people coming up behind you in the market to buy that big house. A lot of the new, younger home buyers are not interested in those kind of properties, those big downsize, air quote, downsize later kind of properties. All right? Now, this is the piece that I really want to focus on today. This idea of, again, the coronavirus right now, and really being an opportunity for us to spend more time with our close family at home, right? Spend some more time with the family. A lot of folks have their kids at home right now, and it's not gonna last. It's all gonna settle down. Everything will go back to normal. But maybe that opportunity to say, man, I need to take care of those things that matter most. I need to take care of my estate plan, for example, right? I want to help you get off the log. If you haven't stopped long enough to get your life insurance reviewed, let's do that together. We can do it remotely right now. I just started a new life insurance investigation for a client who's actually now in Texas, and we are not going to meet in person. We're going to get it done face-to-face virtually. Let's talk about your living trust, though. The people who matter most around you, family, etc., right? Think about it. Who are the guardians of your children if something happened to you and your spouse? What happens to your real estate? What happens to gifting to parents and sisters and brothers and things like that, right? Let's go back to the guardians for your kids. This is one that I ask folks here in California all the time over the years, but this is the same answer pretty much anywhere in the United States. If I asked you right now, if you don't have a living trust and a will and everything laid out, you have not done your estate plan, if you are still sitting on the log, and you and your husband or you and your wife, whoever's listening, if you were to die and you don't come home all of a sudden, who would you want to be the guardians of your children? You might say, I want my parents to be the guardians. Oh, no, my sister. Oh, no, my brother. My brother would be the guardians. No problem. He'd be the guardian of our kids. Wrong. All of those answers are wrong. If you do not have an estate plan in place, the county in which you reside, the county family court system will become the de facto guardians of your children, of your minor children. The family court system will become their guardian. And your parents, your sister, your brother, your cousins, they can all pay lawyers to go discuss in front of a public family court hearing. They can all appear in court and say, no, it should be me. No, my sister wanted me to be the guardians of the kids. The parents say, no, they wanted us to be the guardians of the kids. Maybe they'll all get along, maybe they won't. The simple answer, though, is get your estate plan done. Get your estate plan done, because all that is laid out in your estate plan. And so there is no family court system. You want your sister to be the guardian of your children? Done. Get it set in your estate plan. Because if you don't, the government always has a plan for you. It's not the plan that anyone ever wants, right? Never. Nobody ever wants that. Just for example, like some folks that actually met with just this week, we started this. They have 3 rental properties, all of them owned in their personal names. They have another private residence. They have 4 pieces of real estate, all owned in their individual names. Now, they know that's not right. She said, when I spoke to her this week, she said that she's just procrastinated. She's been on the log. 4 frogs on a log. She just hasn't got off the darn log. But this whole coronavirus thing really made her realize, wow, we got to get this stuff done. So what we're doing now is we're going from a situation that if her and her husband were gone all of a sudden, right, she wants her children to inherit the 4 houses and be able to benefit from all the money that they've got in equity. The problem is that if they die without an estate plan, those houses, 4 of them, would go into the probate system. And in California, it will take at least 18 months. 18 months to settle the probate, and it will cost probably $15,000 to $20,000 in probate fees. And it's just an unnecessary thing to have happen to a family. So take care of those things that matter most, the people and the causes that you care about. Now is the time to hunker down and ride out this whole coronavirus thing, but take the opportunity to get off the log. Get your retirement conversation straight. Get your life insurance, your protection right, and let me help you with that estate plan. If you want to get the conversation going around this or any of these other topics you're thinking about, send me an email, Kraig with a K at kraigstrom.com. That's STROM, Kraig with a K at kraigstrom.com. Stay safe out there, everybody. Be nice to your neighbors, wave to your friends on Facebook, and send me that email. I look forward to connecting with you soon. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Personal Pension Radio podcast. If you missed anything during the show, that's okay. We took the notes for you. Check the show notes for links, offers, and a full transcript. And don't forget to head over to personalpensionradio.com and download your free retirement income report. While you're there, we would appreciate some iTunes love. Please leave us a fantastic rating on iTunes by going to personalpensionradio.com/iTunes. Thanks again for listening. Now for the disclosure. Information presented is for educational purposes only and is not intended for solicitation, sale or purchase of any security or financial product. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor and your tax professional before implementing any strategy discussed here. The term personal pension refers to a marketing name designed to educate future retirees and retirees about the economic principles behind creating their own pension-like income. The term personal pension is not intended to be confused with a defined benefit pension plan offered by an employer or by a government entity.